Good afternoon and welcome to our midday briefing. Let me start with a brief update to the President's agenda for next week. On Thursday, President von der Leyen will be in London, where she will meet with the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Keir Starmer, and participate in the summit on energy security. And this is all for the agenda of the President of next week. And you know, we just had a press conference. Commissioner McGrath was in this press room just moments ago, and you will have spotted that we have announced an off-the-record technical briefing via WebEx, so only from remote, on the Commission's proposals to front-load elements of the Pact on Migration and Asylum and on a first EU list of safe countries of origin. This technical briefing is scheduled for 12:45, and therefore we will end this midday around 12:35 to give accredited journalists the time to connect. We also wanted to flag that our press material on this proposal should have been published now, or is going to be published within seconds. It has been just adopted, so we needed a bit of time to upload the documents, and you will of course see it all in Press Corner. And this is all for our announcements today, so we're happy to take your numerous questions. Okay, let me start with Lorenzo, and then I'll continue. Thanks.
Yeah, just an update. Was there a call of the President with the Italian Prime Minister Meloni, since that she's going to meet Trump tomorrow, I think? And was there a call yesterday, or what did they say, the President and the Premier? Thanks.
Many thanks, Lorenzo. If you recall, I think we have said a few days ago that the President had been in contact with Prime Minister Meloni in preparation of the visit, and they would indeed touch base again ahead of the visit. They have had a new call last night. We won't be disclosing any specific readout, but the messages are in line with what we have said in the previous days. So they have coordinated this visit. As you know, we have already said it several times. Any outreach to the US administration is very welcome. The President has said it itself. Of course, the negotiation competence is with the Commission, but the outreach and the contacts are extremely positive, and therefore the President and the Prime Minister have coordinated. Other questions? I'm going a bit fast because I want to take as many as I can. Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks, Ariana. Christian with Ernst Europe. I have a question on the announcement yesterday on the simplification of the EU deforestation regulation. Beyond the provision on the guidance that you issued, which is required under the regulation, I see little in terms of legislative simplifications in this. So I was wondering if you can clarify exactly what is simplified in the regulation with this. And also I was a bit puzzled by the statement where you say that companies will now only have to submit annual due diligence statements. I mean, in this context, Article 4.2 is very clear that the due diligence statements have to be submitted before placing products on the market. So I was wondering if you could clarify this.
Balas.
Keep your expectations low. I'm replacing my colleague Maciej, who is sitting just behind you, but he's not working today. So allow me to give a bit of a context for the general public as well. So as we all recall, the deforestation regulation entered into force back in June 2023, and then what followed was a so-called grace period, and the initial idea was to go for application as of the end of 2024. But then in October 2024, the Commission came with a proposal to sort of extend this grace period, and according to the new timeline, the law would become applicable as of the end of 2025, so as of 30 December for large companies, and then from the 30th of June 2026 for micro and small enterprises. Now, when the Commission came with the proposal in October 2024 about the extended grace period, it was also agreed that we would update the general guidance that we provide to affected actors as to how to implement the measures concerned. So this is what actually took place yesterday. Now, when we look at the press release, we tried to single out the key simplification measures that we propose in this context. So I will just mention a few of them for the sake of giving some examples. So large companies can reuse existing due diligence statements when goods previously on the EU market are re-imported. An authorized representative can now submit a due diligence statement on behalf of members of company groups. And lastly, companies will be allowed to submit due diligence statements annually instead of for every shipment or batch placed on the EU market. So these are some of the generic measures. I know you're interested in further details. We'll look at them bilaterally. But let me add that we will not stop here. We are also going to propose a delegated act that will provide further clarifications and simplification on the scope of the regulation. This will come rather soon, and we are finalizing a country benchmarking system as well. This will come via an implementing act before the 30th of June. And we think that all these measures put together will lead to around 30% of reduction in administrative costs and burden for companies.
You have a follow-up. Let's see. We will try to be brief because otherwise I won't be able to take many questions.
Just to follow up on this, on the annual due diligence statement that you mentioned. I mean, I couldn't see that in the guidance documents, but it's long documents, so I might have missed it. But how would this work, given that they have to submit the due diligence statements before placing on the market, and now you're saying that they can submit annual statements? And the second just question on what you mentioned, the reduction in the burden on companies to 30%. Is this including the upcoming country benchmarking?
I think these are rather specific questions, so we will take them up bilaterally after. The team is, of course, available. We don't have the answers now, and I would really like to take other questions given the short.
Just on the one of them is in your press statement. You're saying that this reduction on the company annual statements. That's what you're saying in the press in the PRs. It's not a very detailed question. It would be good to have a clarity on that. Thanks.
We will still have to get back later. Other questions? David, let's go ahead.
Yeah, a really basic question. The 1 year delay that we have, that's really a 1 year delay. It's not going to morph into a 2 year delay or whatever, with all these simplification proposals that we're having. And then just a question, a comment as API. We started at 12:13. We'll end at 12:45. That leaves very, very little time for questions, sometimes detailed. And we have no briefing until, is it the 22nd next week? Thanks.
David, we had a midday Monday, we had a midday Tuesday. Today we would have had normally a college readout, but not because of security college. We offered you a press conference at 11. We're here taking the questions for as much as we can. We tried to offer a technical briefing on a topic which we know is of great interest, also in view of the questions we got yesterday. We really do our best to try to provide you with as much information as possible. If you have questions, you know it very well. It doesn't end at midday. You can always reach out to us. We have a team that is fully working. You can get on-the-record comments in many other forms. Indeed, the Commission will be closed for the holidays as of tomorrow, including Monday. Like always, we have a permanence system. So if there's urgent matters, you can contact the colleagues in permanence, and we will be back with the next midday on Tuesday. On the first question, I leave it to Balázs.
And indeed, at this point in time, there is no indication that the grace period would be extended further. So what we are looking at is the timeline that I just described. So end of December 2025 for large companies, the start of the application period, and then for micro and small enterprises, this would be the 30th of June 2026. So that's the latest position that we have.
Other questions on this matter of deforestation specifically? I have a few hand raised from remote. Tommaso Mose Momcil, is it on deforestation? Tomás? No. Okay. Other questions for Balázs on the files he covers? Momcil, is it for Balázs? Go ahead.
Yes, my question is for Balázs. So yesterday, the leader of the third largest Bulgarian party, Revival, which is also represented in the European Parliament, its leader, Mr. Konstantin Konstantinov, posted a video in which he said that those who want to take Bulgaria into the euro area must be sentenced to death. Would the Commission comment this, taking into account that this party is represented in the European Parliament? It has 3 MEPs. Thank you.
Momchil, what I can do is to recall the context in which we are, and of course I will not be able to provide comments on comments, including the ones that you have just cited now. I think here there is a ongoing procedure. Bulgaria is taking steps towards the euro zone. As you know, every 2 years we are preparing a convergence report for interested countries, including Bulgaria. The last such report came out in 2024 June. We looked at the situation in terms of the 4 major criteria that we have for accession to the Eurozone. So these criteria include exchange rate stability, but also the long-term interest rate and sound public finances, and the inflation situation. At that time, Bulgaria already fulfilled 3 out of the 4 main criteria that I have just described. And then on top of that, we received a request from the Bulgarian authorities for a special convergence report. This came at the end of February, so this is being prepared. And once again, we are going to look at how Bulgaria is doing in terms of fulfilling the 4 main criteria and some other considerations as well. And you can expect our sort of position to be presented on this in the context of the spring package of the European Economic Semester, which is foreseen for early summer.
Thanks, Balázs. I do not see other hands raised for you, so thanks a lot. Other questions for us today? Let's go to Jorge, and then I'll continue across the press room. I know it's many hands.
Yes, hello, Ariana. I have a question to clarify the remarks made by Kaja Kallas on Monday. She asked candidate countries to not go to the military parade that Vladimir Putin will organize for the 9th of May. But then Robert Fico, who is going to this parade, criticized Kaja Kallas for this warning. Is the Commission or the External Action Service advising the sitting members of the European Council, that is, the leaders of the member states, also not to go to this parade? Does this warning apply to member states as well? What's your communication on this? Thank you.
Thanks, Anita.
Thank you, Jorge. For the context, Russia is using the commemoration of the end of the Second World War to justify its war of aggression against Ukraine. So this is the context, and from our side it is important not to lend legitimacy to this by participating in such events like this parade. And actually, we have also Council decision on this. Member states, including Slovakia, they have agreed in 2022 to decline such invitations.
Thanks, Anita. Other questions on Russia's war of aggression in Ukraine? Yes, go ahead.
Hi, follow up on that one. Vibor Vlanic, Croatian Radio Television. If Serbia's President Aleksandar Vučić goes to Moscow on the 9th of May to the parade, what will happen to him, to Serbia, I mean, in the context of EU accession? Because there was some information that Serbia could be blocked.
It's for Guillaume.
It's actually a question for Guillaume, but let's take it in the interest of not repeating questions. Guillaume, if you can join Anita, stay around, please, and we will then continue on the Foreign Affairs chapter.
Thank you for the question. Obviously, we would not speculate on what would be the possible follow-up to this visit. What I can say is that Serbia has applied and is negotiating its membership to the EU. And Serbia's decision implies that the country aligns with the EU, including in terms of foreign policy. So the EU wants Serbia to be a reliable European partner for common principles, values, security and prosperity, and we need Serbia to reassure us of this strategic position.
Thanks, Guillaume. Other questions on this matter specifically for Guillaume? I see a number of hands raised. Let's go first row, and then we continue towards the back of the press room.
Hello. I have a follow-up for Anita, I guess. Is there like some kind of response or punishment preparing for Robert Fico if he still goes to Moscow on May 9th?
Thanks. It's really not for the Commission to punish heads of state and government. Other questions for us today? Please go ahead. Always for Guillaume or on this matter specifically, please. Thanks.
Oui, merci Olivier Beau, AFP. C'est une question pour Guillaume, un peu un follow-up de ce qu'il a dit sur la Serbie. Mais si jamais donc, dans l'hypothèse où le président serbe se rendrait à Moscou, quelles décisions concrètes vous pourriez prendre à la suite de ce déplacement? Est-ce que ça implique un certain nombre de mesures ou sinon vous allez juste vous contenter d'une déclaration réprouvant ce déplacement? Merci.
Comme je l'ai dit dans ma réponse à la question précédente, on ne peut pas spéculer à ce stade. On prendra une décision lorsque ça viendra.
Dernière question. Je pense que c'est à propos de mon sujet. Merci.
C'est aussi une question pour Guillaume, mais c'est à propos du Monténégro. So the president of Montenegro stated that he would ask the opinion of the European Commission on the agreement that Montenegro has signed with United Arab Emirates. So can you confirm, has Commissioner Kos received a letter from Montenegrin president with this request, and does the Commission have plans to give its assessment on the agreement before the agreement is adopted in Montenegrin parliament? Thank you.
Thank you. What we can say is that obviously we take note of the cooperation agreement on tourism and real estate development that Montenegro signed with the United Arab Emirates. We can confirm the receipt of the letter, and we will reply in due time. And regarding your last question, at the request of Montenegro, the Commission can certainly provide an assessment of this agreement in relation with the EU acquis.
Thanks, Guillaume. I have to apologize. I had missed some questions from remote on the previous matter of Serbia and Moscow. Ekrem, you had a question on this?
Yes, thank you. It's kind of difficult for me to understand. Chronologically, this is what will happen. On May 9, President of Serbia will be in Moscow. That has been confirmed by Putin and Mr. Vučić himself. He goes back to Belgrade, and then the High Representative apparently will be in Belgrade. The question is, what kind of message this visit of Kaja Kallas will send to Belgrade if the Commission and the whole team expresses concern of the attendance of May 9? Can you clarify it for me, please?
Ekrem, I think our message right now is clear, is the one that Guillaume has conveyed a moment ago. The message that we will convey if events go in a certain manner in almost a month's time, it's really, really too early to ask for us. Our message now is what matters, and it's clear. For the future, we will see. Other questions for Guillaume? Tamara from remote.
Hello. Hi.
Hi, we cannot see you.
Again, just a second.
Look, I would suggest that you, there you go. We saw you for a moment.
I don't know. Okay. Hi.
Hi.
Now? Okay. Yes. Something's happening with my camera. I have a question regarding the blockades of radio television of Serbia and radio television of Vojvodina. Students now are continuing the blockades, and they are not satisfied with the reporting of these public services. And now there have been some posters in the forms of wanted lists showing editors and journalists from the RTS news program. So I was wondering, can you comment on this matter?
Thank you, Tamara. I mean, we provide you with our position yesterday, so there's not much I can add. What I can say is that, in general, you know that media freedom and freedom of expression are fundamental values in the EU.
Thanks, Guillaume. Other questions for Guillaume? Mose, I know it's not for Guillaume, so I'll take your question later. Thanks, Guillaume. Other questions for Anita on foreign affairs, since she's been standing. Valentina from remote, and then I return to the press room.
me? Do you hear me? Hi.
Hello. Yes.
My question is about yesterday events in Moscow. 4 Russian journalists who were covering also Navalny case were sentenced to jail for 5.5 years. Antonina Favorska, Artyom Krieger, Sergei Karelin, and Konstantin Gabov. So my question is, what the EU can do about that? And can the EU at least try to help or support Russian journalists in exile who are inside the EU right now? Thank you.
Thank you, Valentina. As Russia continues its war of aggression against Ukraine, it also continues its war against the free and courageous voices within Russia that want a democracy, that want free speech. And Russia is afraid of these free voices and also has a track record of jailing hundreds of innocent journalists, opposition members and human rights activists, but also ordinary Russians. So we condemn the most recent political motivated prison sentence of 5 years and 6 months of those 4 independent Russian journalists, Antonina, Konstantin, Sergei and Artyom. We are with you and with all the political prisoners that must be released immediately and unconditionally. On our side, what we do is that we are pushing the international pressure on Russia for the human rights violations and supporting individuals, including through trial observations. We're also providing support to civil society, to human rights defenders, activists and independent media inside but also outside Russia. And Russian NGOs receive, for instance, support from the European Union, for example, for legal defense for political prisoners, including citizens' participation in anti-war demonstrations.
Thanks, Anita. Other questions on this matter specifically? Other questions for Anita on Foreign Affairs? First row, and then we continue.
Tatiana Vysotska, European Pravda, Espresso TV, Ukraine. I'm not very sure that it's for Anita, but it concerns Ukraine and the training mission of European Union, which is provided to Ukrainian soldiers. On Monday, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Hungary, Peter Szijjártó, he told that ministers of foreign affairs discussed the sending of some military advisors to Ukraine to organize the training mission inside the Ukraine, because now all the training missions for Ukrainian soldiers are working outside Ukraine on the European territory. And he said that it was discussed. As we know, no decisions were taken. I'm wondering if if there are some official information on these plans, or it's just a discussion under the closed door.
Thank you. Indeed, this was discussed, but the main point is here to support Ukraine and strengthen Ukraine as much as possible, and also to the discussions are ongoing as regards the adaptation to the mission, but there's nothing further I can share at this moment.
You have a follow-up.
Yes, a small follow-up. This mission is discussed to be launched when the war will end, when some peace will be installed, or right now?
Thank you. As said, no further details at this point. Yeah.
Thanks. Other questions relating to Ukraine for Anita? Go ahead.
Angela Skujins for TPP World. So a former Ukrainian president and leader of the largest opposition party in Ukraine has criticised the extension of martial law until August this past parliament on Tuesday. He said that it builds on an authoritarian regime in Ukraine, and this kind of echoes criticisms that we've heard from the US and Russia on this issue in the past. So I'm curious as to where the Commission stands on this recent extension of martial law. Thank you.
Thank you. We had already made our position very clear when it comes to martial law, also when it comes to the special and tragic circumstances that we are facing today. It's also in the constitutional setup, and it is for Ukraine to decide on this.
Thanks. I do not see other hands raised on Ukraine. Other questions on foreign affairs to close the chapter? Not the case, as far as I can see. Thanks, Anita. Other questions for us today? Many eager questions. Let's go to the back, and then I continue.
Hi, John Bopichelli, Bloomberg News. I have a question about the DSA and the statement made by Commissioner McGrath today during a briefing, suggesting that there is an investigation under the DSA into the e-commerce platform Shein. I wanted to know whether that's just a slip of the tongue or if indeed they should draft an article.
Thomas.
Hi, Jan. You can always draft an article on things that we have done in the past. So what we have done so far, I mean, the Commissioner is right. We're investigating Shein in the sense that we have already sent 2 requests for information. So in February of this year and in June of last year. So we have concerns indeed when it comes to Shein's compliance with the DSA, when it comes to recommender systems, to illegal content, etc. But we haven't opened formal proceedings yet.
Other questions for Thomas on the files he covers? Not the case. We will continue with our speedy marathon. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Sven Christian Schulz with Redaktionsnetzwerk Deutschland. It's probably a question for Markus regarding the EU list of safe countries of origin, which was published some minutes ago, and which includes Morocco and Tunisia, where human rights activists, NGOs, journalists, LGBTIQ people will live in fear and may seek asylum. So how will you deal with this if these countries are not considered safe?
Markus, joining me. Just a reminder that we also have a technical briefing in a few minutes, so happy to take questions now, but if they're very technical, we will ask you to wait a few minutes more.
Thank you very much indeed. As Ariana says, we will have a technical briefing in a few minutes, but maybe some general words. Today the Commission is proposing to accelerate the implementation of certain aspects of the Pact on Migration and Asylum. This concerns in particular 2 key elements of the Asylum Procedure Regulation that will help Member States process asylum claims that are likely to be unfounded faster and more efficiently. And in addition, the Commission is proposing to make use of one of the novelties of the Pact, namely to establish an EU list of safe countries of origin. Nationals from safe countries of origin will see their applications processed faster with a maximum duration of 3 months, either in an accelerated or in a border procedure. And it will now be for the European Parliament and the Council to agree on this proposal. Now, which countries are part of the EU list? The Commission considers that a country which is an EU candidate country does in principle meet the criteria to be designated as a safe country of origin, because as part of their EU membership path, candidate countries are working towards reaching the stability of institutions that guarantee democracy, the rule of law, human rights and respect for and protection of minorities. Candidate countries will therefore only be excluded under very specific circumstances, which are listed in the proposal. In addition, the Commission proposes to include Kosovo, Bangladesh, Colombia, Egypt, India, Morocco and Tunisia in this first EU list of safe countries of origin. The EU list of safe countries of origin is a dynamic list. That means it can be expanded or reviewed over time. Countries can also be suspended from or removed from the list, should they no longer fulfill the criteria for being designated as a safe country of origin.
Thanks, Markus. You have the floor again.
Yeah, thank you, Markus. I would like to repeat my question because I think it does not reflect, your answer does not reflect my question, where Morocco and Tunisia, with human rights activists, NGOs, journalists, LGBTIQ people live in fear, and these groups may seek asylum in European borders. So how will you deal with this if these countries, Morocco and Tunisia, are now at this list and might be implemented at the end of the year?
Thank you very much. So, with the new rules, we streamline and we speed up the processing of asylum applications, but we do not cut back on fundamental and human rights. The designation as a safe country of origin does not establish a guarantee of safety for all nationals of that country. Under EU law, Member States have to carry out individual assessments of each asylum application in each individual case with all the procedural safeguards. this is independently from whether a person comes from a safe country of origin or not, and the current proposal does not change that. What it does is it allows for faster procedures for those whose asylum applications are likely to be unfounded, and including in the border procedure. This will make our asylum system more streamlined, but it doesn't take away the safeguards for asylum seekers.
Thanks. The technical briefing should start in 3 minutes, so we'll have a few more questions as fast as we can, and then we will have to close. Is it on this matter? Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Vincenzo Genovese from Euronews. So my question is, what's the point for the Commission to present a EU list if this list is not replacing the several national lists that are from in the member states, and why the Commissioner Brunner is not here to present the proposal in this case? Thank you very much.
On Commissioner Brunner, this was not a college item, so there's no readout. The press conferences we offer on the basis of interest, availability, and a number of other criteria. We are here to answer questions. Marcus will continue to do so together with Fiorella and the team later today. And we tried to schedule a technical briefing to provide you with as much information as possible. But Marcus, on the rest.
Thanks. Yeah, now on the question substance, why is it important to have a joint EU list? So this EU list brings harmonization across member states. This will help convergence of asylum decisions. It will make the process faster and more efficient across all member states, because that list applies to all member states. And this will ultimately help reduce secondary movements and also asylum shopping.
Thanks, Marcus. Question on this, Lorenzo, go ahead. I think it will be our final one for today.
Marcus, it's still not clear what happens if a member state decides to send back a migrant into his country of origin, considering it safe, and this country is not in the European list for a reason, because there must be a reason for which it's not there. Is it not a source of problems, probably also, I don't know, NGOs that, or even the person that has been sent back that can go against the state, saying, I mean, what is the legal status of this new European list in comparison with the national list that still exists and still will be applied? It's not very clear. Okay, you want convergence, but why not a compulsory list, an harmonized list that is valid for all the member states?
Thanks, Lorenzo. Yes, I mean, we can also take up some of these questions, I think, in the technical briefing. But this list is a joint list that is for all member states. Member states can still have their own lists, but the list goes for everyone.
Thanks, Marcus. You want to add some items? No, technical briefing should start really soon. I continued a bit longer than foreseen, since we started a bit with a delay, so we said at least half an hour. I'm sorry if we couldn't take all questions. As said, colleagues remain fully available to answer also on the record, even in the afternoon. As said earlier, we will be closed, the Commission will be closed as of tomorrow, so we will be back, as David correctly recalled, on Tuesday 22nd for our next daily midday press briefing. And with that, technical briefing will be just a couple of minutes late because Marcus needs to arrive to the experts. You can all join from remote if you like. With that, thanks a lot for having participated. Thank you to the interpreters, all colleagues, and I wish you a nice holiday period. See you on Tuesday. Goodbye.